Hello, everybody. Let's talk about buttons. Buttons are one of the mainstays of YAB programs, and you're going to make many of them. So let's quickly get an idea of how to make buttons. And when we have a look at them, you will see that there are, in fact, two. And I will show you how to sort of fudge your way to a third. Right, so the first is a plain button, which is only made from lines and a few drop shadows. The other one is by using an image. So, obviously, I've written a little program to demonstrate this. Okay, let's see what it does. Window open, tiny little 100 by 100 pixel window. First, we make an image button. With button, it doesn't really make a difference what order you create them in, but it's if your machine's a little slow, then it's more pleasing to have them come from the top to the bottom or from left to right, because that's how most of your users will expect things to appear. The machine's very fast and everything just flashes onto the screen and you won't even know the difference. But for the sake of people who are running slow machines, who have a lot of other things taking up memory, it's better to take it from the top to the bottom. That's why I do the image button first. And I give it two graphics, which we can see here. First, the pressed, and then the normal one. Alright, so this is the pressed icon. You see it's slightly darkened. This is the normal icon. I could have given a third, which is for when button has been rendered inactive, but that's optional. Still, if you're not going to give it, then you have to put a little empty string there. And I'm painting them directly onto the main window. Could have been on a view. After that, we have a regular button just below it, just to exit. We've seen this already. Now, notice that the format is slightly different here. For a regular button, it's like creating a window or a view. You have to go from an XY reference to another XY reference. You give it an ID, you paint a label on it, and you say where it's going to be. For the image button, you only need to give the first of those two references. So how does your program know how big the button is? Well, it takes the measure of the graphic that you use. So make sure your graphic is pre-prepared, that it's the right size, because you can't resize it on the fly. And then here in the middle of my program, I've got an infinite loop. I'm doing that because right now I just want to, show you what it looks like. And I'm not really interested in catching the messages. We will do that later. Okay, so and there's our little program. Now you will see if I click on this, it changes from normal to pressed. If for some reason you don't want to show a difference between those two states, then there's nothing stopping you from just giving the same icon twice. Right, and this is your regular button, and it likewise gives you a slightly different look when you press on it. Okay, so now we're going to comment out this little infinite loop. So the usual sort of thing we put in a main loop, while true, so this is actually also an infinite loop. A string equals messages, so intercept any messages that this widget sends me and feed it into the string variable a string. So if in string, if it contains the code exit button, which I've created here, then exit. And else if there's the code, the message says edit button, then launch styled edit. So let's run this baby again. Okay, so we got your image button, and if we click on it, there we go. We can launch styled edit. And if we click on this one, then our program closes, but styled edit stays open because it's been launched as an independent process. Now, the question is, what if I want this picture with its icon, but I want it to look a little bit more like this, like a distinct button, not just a picture floating in nowhere, right? Because this is good for toolbars and such, but is there enough to show the user that it is a button? And how would we do that? Well, the answer is you just have to create that button graphically to look more like a button. So if we now open up this other program, as you can see, it's basically the same program, but it uses these different little graphics, which I created in a bit of a hurry because it's just a demonstration. It's not the greatest program since the invention of programming. Yes, he said very modestly. And now it looks like this. And because I created this as a button graphic, it looks a lot more like an actual button. And for the press state, I just flipped it around vertically and horizontally, the background layer. and the other one is still the same. So you're not restricted to either a very plain pre-drawn button or just an icon floating in nowhere. You can make something different. You can make your own style of buttons if that's what pleases you. Keep in mind that one of the great things about Haiku rather, is that programs all look and feel very similar. It's a consistency in the user interface. And so I would say, don't go wild creating your own budget unless you're really giving it some thought, unless there's a real reason for you to do this. Okay, so that's it for buttons. If you look on my other channel, I once made a video about a little program that I wrote called Haiku Fool. That's Haiku, F-U-L-L. And in which I literally cover the entire screen with buttons. I don't have it loaded on this, but just telling you that because there might be a limit on how many buttons a YAB program can handle, but I have not bumped into that, and Haiku Fool, I've tested that with several hundred buttons. That's pretty much a launcher's launcher. Okay, so thank you very much for watching. Please like the video. Please subscribe to the channel. Get your friends to subscribe to the channel. Get your grandmother to subscribe to the channel. She doesn't follow YouTube anyway, so, where's the damage? Right, what else? Oh, yes, there's a little bell. And if you click on that, you'll be notified of future videos. Got nothing to do with me. YouTube does that all by itself. And stick around for very important information coming up. Nah, kidding. It's our usual end credit with a little buy me a coffee notice. Okay, so what are we looking at next? We'll probably go down the list, alphabetically, so you can count on there being calendar, checkbox, color control, that sort of thing. Ooh, we got quite a few ahead of us. Okay, thanks for watching. Have a great day.